I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, Penny.
Mayor Reinhardt,
Here.
Vice Mayor Dance,
Here.
Councilmember Earl,
Here.
Councilmember Watkins,
Here.
Councilmember McCon.
Do I have a motion to,
I make a motion to excuse matters.
thank you.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? All right, public comments. Want to give some public comments?
Sure. Just a quick update from the county commissioners. A couple of things that we're working on for this year, besides our budget and monitoring the income coming back to the county. We are looking at adding maybe the evidence building out of the jail property. It was in the plans originally when the millage was passed to build the jail, and the evidence building did not get built. It's quite a large pole barn building, and they set that aside as not being able to fit in the budget when it was all said and done, because of the improvements to the jail the changes that they made at the time. So they're looking at putting up the building potentially this year, getting started on it. So right now, if there's any vehicles or anything that's involved in an investigation, they just get parked out behind the jail in the open lot, and they're in the weather, and and everything, stuff deteriorates outside. So they're looking at building a pretty large, and it would also be an evacuation. It would have an evacuation area for jail. Not sure for inmates, but part of that complex, the DHS folks, and that. In case there was a storm. So we're evaluating that and getting bids on maybe doing that. We're also looking at our Bader Road property, 160 acres out there. We're considering either a public park, fairly passive park, and just have a parking lot. Probably wouldn't even develop originally nature trails, but it would be an area that the public could go and stomp around in, however they, wanted to use it. We're also looking at, we had a presentation from Michigan State University Forestry Department Thursday last week. They're proposing that they would lease it, which wouldn't be any monetary exchange, but they would like to lease it and create a forestry lab out there for Michigan State University students, forestry students, which is kind of how we're leaning at this point. Sounds like a pretty decent plan that would end up to be the closest land lab that they would have to campus, 85 miles, whatever it is, just down I-69. So they are saying that there's not any great timber value for to be harvested, so they would come in and clean up some of the scrub brush and create a little better forestry environment, and the students would be able to maybe design some experiments out there too, maybe even use the 40 acres that have been tilled for quite a while. It's been leasing it for farming. They would use that to they would like to do a maple tree density study. How close can you plant maple trees, and what kind of sap and syrup production do you get if you have a concentrated area of maple trees? But their real main interest, the reason they're excited, is because most of their land labs are all north of Clare, which gets you into national forests and that, and it's a different kind of tree forest here. No hickories, and very few walnuts that far north. So they're excited about having that variety that they can offer their students a little different experience. So we're considering that. We're going to go ahead with a proposal and meet with them in a committee format, see if we can come up with maybe a long-term lease environment to work that out. So we're working with Batavia Township to make sure that would then qualify that acreage as non-taxable, and we'd be exempt again then because it's a public use. They may even go to the point of opening up to the public and having signage and different educational exhibits out there eventually. Not in the first year, but eventually, which I think is pretty exciting. And there's even some interest of working down into the community colleges, and maybe even with the VOTEC folks in Coldwater in high school to see if they can continue to develop students that are interested in the forestry department, because you don't get very many kids from this area that are, interested in forestry going to Michigan State, because there's just not much exposure here. So, other than that, I think continue to work on improving our budget reporting with our assistant administrator that we hired from St. Joe County. Jessica's made a big improvement along with Tricia. Managing the bill paying and expenses and that, I think we're in a lot better shape than we were a couple of years ago as far as being transparent. Every department, and we want to get to where every department can know what their fund balance is any moment at any time, how much they've spent of their budget this year, and how much they have left, and can plan accordingly. So that's about it, unless there's any questions.
We sure appreciate it.
Any more public comment? All right, great. Consent agenda. Brandon?
Nothing to add on it.
Okay. Any questions on that, you guys?
Nope.
A motion?
I make a motion to pass the consent agenda?
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? All right, new business, ordinance number 232, trash and recycling ordinance. Brandon?
Thank you, Mayor Reinhardt. It's recommended to allow public hearing to hear comments on the ordinance prior to adoption. I'm going to give you a quick rundown. The proposed ordinance number 233 is a necessary step, as the update will establish the legal framework for the city to enter into a exclusive contract or a single hauler contract for waste and recycling services. This transition is necessary because the recent bid process, no bidders were willing to submit proposals for a non-exclusive contract. Adopting these provisions allows the city to finalize an agreement with Washler Inc., ensuring that our residents continue to receive reliable service at the most reasonable price possible. The new ordinance also requires that carts be removed from the curb within 24 hours after pickup. This is not something we've had in the ordinance before, but it's done in a lot of other communities. It's definitely something that we've gotten questions about over the years. The difficulty with that would be enforcement, but I did add that to the ordinance for council to at least discuss tonight, and if it's not something you want to do, we can amend that or take that out. The ordinance also modernizes the city's garbage, refuse, and recycling regulations. It significantly strengthens enforcement capabilities and financial protections. The updated penalty section increases the accountability by transitioning violations to municipal civil infractions, with fines ranging from $100 to $500 per day. Additionally, the ordinance clearly outlines the process for the city to abate nuisances and recover the cost by assessing it to the property owner's taxes, ensuring that the financial burden of cleanup is paid by that property owner and not our taxpayers. Any questions on that before you have a hearing?
You have a motion to move into public hearing?
Craig, make a motion, move into public hearing.
I'll second
All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Okay, we're now in public hearing. Anyone from the public that would like to give opinion or anything on this?
it. Anything to say?
I don't live in town, but I think that's a little steep on the first offense.
All right, any more public comments? All right, motion to, or do we approve it now and then go back?
Close the public hearing.
Yeah. Close the public hearing.
I'll make a motion to close the public hearing.
Second.
All those in favor? All those opposed? Okay,
and we can discuss, both of them, correct?
Yes.
Now, pertaining, it's not an automatic thing, it's a nuisance thing, if you sit there and you tell the resident.
There's discretion.
Yes. Okay, understood.
It becomes a problem, then it gets to that point.
Yes, okay,
There's some education that needs to be done
yes,
before that
Yes.
gets to that point.
I agree,
But if push comes to shove, then there has to be some teeth.
not arguing that. So,
More questions or thoughts? Good. Okay. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve ordinance 232, trash recycling permits.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Okay, B, approved Washler Inc. trash and recycling contract. Brandon?
Thank you, Mayor Reinhardt. The city council needs to approve a 5-year agreement with Washler to handle all the residential trash and recycling collection services starting March 1st of 2026. Under this deal, Washler will provide carts and weekly pickup for trash as well as recycling services for all residential, multifamily, and commercial small customers that wish to use the 96-gallon totes. Contract is designed to protect the city and keep services reliable. It includes clear rules for how waste should be handled and gives the city power to end the agreement if the service isn't meeting our standards, and also aligns with our charter provision against irrevocable franchise agreements. It also ensures that any disputes would be handled locally at Branch County courts. By signing the 5-year deal, we're locking into a steady provider at reasonable costs for our customers while still offering recycling services to everyone. Questions on the contract? We'll be having a open house Wednesday night or afternoon here from 4 to 6:30 for people to stop by and ask questions and learn more about the program.
Got a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve Washler Incorporation trash recycling contract.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Okay, adopt council goals 26 and 27. Brandon?
Thank you, Mayor Reinhardt. In your packet, you'll find proposed city council goals for the FY 26-27 budget, along with marked up copies showing changes from the previous year. Most changes are minor, with the most notable addition being the inclusion of new housing goals and adding new housing in the community. Any questions or any changes council would like to see to that? This is included in every budget.
Do I have a motion?
I make a motion to adopt council goals for 2026, 2027.
I'll second
All those in favor? Those opposed? Okay, Brandon Newhoff, professional services agreement, general services. Brandon?
Thank you, Mayor Reinhardt. Brian Newhoff is requesting a new signed professional services agreement for as-needed services to the city for 2026. This is a standard agreement that Brian Newhoff uses with other communities that they work with. This would cover time spent on smaller projects that only take a few hours. Larger projects would still require a separate professional services agreement on an individual basis. Any questions on that?
how has the, relationship been with them because we went away from them on the big?
Pretty good.
Is it still any-
Yeah, they've been very helpful and responsive, but also we definitely want to look at other companies and working with them as well. So we do have the RFP out for engineering services for the improvements that we're going to be doing at the wastewater treatment plant. We did receive a pilot grant of $50,000 to help cover those engineering expenses to develop the preliminary engineering report. So we put a request out for engineering services for that. I think they kind of question that, they would like to do that, but, we'll still have a chance during the RFP process. Yep. So that'll be out there as well.
Any more questions from you? Motion?
I make a motion to approve Prime Newhoff Professional Services Agreement, General Services.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Okay. And the Newhoff Professional Services Agreement, PFAS local limit, Brandon.
Thank you, Mayor Reinhardt. The city is required under our recent National Pollutant Discharge Elimination System, or NPDS permit, to submit a PFAS local limit evaluation to Eagle by April 1st. This evaluation focuses on specific PFAS analytes, including PFOS, PFOA, and is designed to ensure our wastewater treatment operations are protected and to prevent these substances from passing through into the environment or contaminating our biosolids. Failing to meet this regulatory deadline would result in non-compliance with our state permit, so it's a high priority item for us to complete. To meet this requirement, we've received a proposal from Prine and Newhoff to perform the necessary technical analysis. They were the ones that did our PFAS study report. They'll be utilizing the existing data from that study to determine maximum allowable headworks loading and establish local limits for industrial and other users. This work is being performed on a time and material basis with a cost not to exceed $5,000. By using the previously collected data from that grant, we're able to satisfy the state requirements efficiently without having the added expense of doing several new rounds of testing and sampling. Unfortunately, another unfunded obligation.
Any questions on that? Motion?
Make motion to approve the Prine Newhoff Professional Services Agreement, PFAS local limits.
I'll second
All those in favor?
it. Aye.
All those opposed? Okay. Approve the amended city purchasing policy.
Thank you, Mayor Reinhardt. It's been 6 years since our purchasing policy limits have been evaluated. Our current policy requires a formal bid process for purchases over $3,000, which has become a hurdle for routine maintenance and small equipment needs due to rising inflation. This update increases the formal bidding and request for proposals threshold to $10,000. This change will allow staff to handle day-to-day operational needs more efficiently while reducing costly administrative time spent working on advertising and drafting proposals associated with smaller bidding items. This policy still maintains strong internal controls to ensure efficient spending. At your table, I did make an updated change. Councilman Watkins had reached out about possibly increasing the purchases between $2,500 and $10,000, which would require the city manager approval or at least 2 written proposals, unless a single vendor is deemed desirable or if not more than 2 could be identified. So items between that range could be approved by the city manager with 2 quotes. And then anything below that could be approved by the department head.
Yeah, the original packet when Brandon sent that out, I mean, $1,500, you can sneeze and that's $1,500 right there anymore. So it just didn't make sense for, Joe or,
Jerry.
Jerry to, if it was, as long as it's less than $2,500, they should be able to, I mean, we put them in that position for a reason to do their job. Let's not tie up Brandon and whoever on something pitchy like that. I mean, 2,500 is minimal nowadays, so.
And we still usually discuss those purchases anyway before we go ahead with them.
Right. It just, we recently made that change in the plant just because of the way the money is anymore and It only makes sense in my opinion.
Yep, I would agree. Any more comments or questions on that?
No.
Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve amended city purchasing policy.
I'll support.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Okay, approved board and commission appointments, resolution 26-2-2, Brandon.
Thank you, Mayor Reinhardt. Since we did our last resolution, there was still one position that we still needed to fill, and that was one spot on the Board of Review, replacing Risa Davis. Cindy Johannes is willing to fill that role. So it would be a 2-year term that would expire at the end of 2027. There's required training that's necessary every 2 years, so we'll be getting everybody caught up on updating their training before the March Board of Review.
Any questions? Got a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve board commission appointments, resolution 26-2-2.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All those approved? Or all those opposed? Reading the next one already. Okay, approved use of downtown city property, Brandon.
Thank you, Mayor Reinhardt. Smitty's Pizza approached us, and they would like to do another music event behind Smitty's and the other buildings on the northeast corner of US 12 and Madison for their annual Polish Festival. The setup would be the same as previous festivals, using the city's parking lot along with property the city owns between the Baroni Storage Garage building and behind the buildings on the North Madison Street side. They provided the city with a certificate of insurance listing the city as additionally insured to protect our liability there, and also provide an event diagram that's in your packet. Any questions on that?
Didn't have any problems last year when they did that.
Scott's okay with it with the fire department?
That I don't know.
Yes.
He has the same.
We went over, we walked the site last year.
Maybe do it.
I can't speak for him, but I know we haven't had issues. It's been relatively smooth.
Say if they do it the same as last year, I think Scott was okay with it last year, so. Do we have a motion?
I make a motion to approve the use of downtown city property.
I'll second
All those in favor?
it. Aye.
All those opposed? Okay, city staff comments. Joe?
Well, January was a month to reckon with. Lots of plowing, lots of salting, lots of blowing and drifting snow. Helping Jerry down at the lift station. It was just chaos. Cold. We expected main breaks, didn't have any until this weekend. And it was
Tidal wave.
It was a rough one. Probably one of the worst ones I've been involved in. It didn't come above surface. It found its way under the road into the storm system. So we ended up tracking it down, had a little bit of time into it, but we got her fixed. Had to remove some storm sewer, got that fixed in today. Salting was difficult. We ran into an issue with getting salt. There's the salt shortage. We got down to about 60 ton. I ended up mixing about 10 ton with sand just for kind of an offset from using all salt. We basically focused on school routes, keeping those real clear. It got so cold at one point, salt quit working. At that point, we started getting snowpack. Streets were getting thick with snowpack, and then when we started to see some warmth, we started putting a little salt on, trying to scrape that snowpack off. Again, it was chaos. There wasn't enough time today, it seemed like. Guys were getting tired, being called in early. You know, you got your daily life in the evening, it was getting rough. Mist digs were coming in left and right for this fiber. Another thing, and now every time it snows, a new mist dig comes in for damaged markings, and you have to go back down and remark everything. I'm ready for spring. Other than that, I mean, everything was fairly good. Busy.
Very
The lift station's been a nightmare. I think we're getting clumps and rags from them cleaning the lines that they're working on, so it sucks in a clump and burns it up. Yeah. There's one working right now, the other one was, oh, the seal on it leaks, pull that up, piece of seal. And then it would work how it is, it's just gonna leak. Hopefully I can just keep going.
Anything else? All right. Steven, nothing, that's good. City manager comments, Brandon.
Thank you, Mayor Reinhardt. Update on the collection system improvement project. Following the last update meeting, we're just over 90% complete with the grouting. They've used over 17,000 gallons of grout for an average of 3.3 gallons per joint. As of January 29th, there were 14 pipe segments left. They have 2 crews in town operating right now and expect to be completed hopefully by the end of the month, provided everything goes well. Eagle did grant us an extension on that work as we requested under the ACO. We have until May to complete that project. And they also granted us the extension to complete the lift station projects until the end of 2026. We got the schedule from Hoffman Brothers and they're going to be starting that project in May and then hopefully being finished by November, or in November. In your packet, I also included 3-year history of wastewater treatment plant flows. If you look those over, you can see the numbers are very much improved compared to 23 and 24. For January, the amount of water we treated at the treatment plant was an average of only 2,000 gallons more per day than the amount we pumped from the wells. So, I mean, that number used to be millions of gallons apart, it's 2,000 gallons last month, so the holes are being filled.
That's awesome.
And I just want to thank our DPW wastewater and sacrifices that they make. Being called out on 5 PM on a Friday night to come look, work on the station, work on a water main on Saturday afternoon. So I just want to thank the guys for all of everything they do and sacrifice, including coming in and plowing the early hours of the day. Thank you to everyone on our staff.
Council comments, Matt?
No, I just want to echo what Brandon was saying. I mean, obviously being on call is not fun, and we appreciate it. I'm not sure much of the community really understands what you guys have to go through at times, so we do appreciate it. It is nice. We can leave early for work, and the streets are plowed. So, thank you to everybody. Please keep up the good work, and hopefully it starts warming up soon for you.
Just echo Matt and Brandon. I think you guys are doing a great job. Really appreciate what you do. You know, I understand because I'm on call 24/7. So when things go bad, they go bad. Sometimes you can pick up the phone and call 10 people and 1 answers. So I understand. I really do appreciate what you guys do. So keep up the good work. So you guys, great job.
Rick, I'll piggyback on all that for you guys. Steve, how you coming? It's been-
No change, but I've got one in the academy, doing well. But no change other than that.
Okay. At least one, head in the right direction. Thanks.
Yeah, we're still waiting on licensing. Chemicals, I don't know why it's taking so long. Yeah, so we're just waiting.
since the beginning.
Piggyback off all those guys too. We do appreciate your guys.
We really.
January was hard on both you guys. And we appreciate your dedication to your positions. It's a unsung hero, I think, of our town. The stuff you guys put up with sometimes, especially down in that lift station. I don't envy you.
I'd like to add one thing. On this last snow, I did a little trial. After Brandon and I had talked with the salt shortage and stuff, we kind of cut back our usage on our spreader and readjusted the flares on the back to not cut off the curbside. I did a speed factor of how fast you have to go before the salt bounces off the road. And I also adjusted that so that way we could shift over on the road and spread the whole road in one pass instead of two passes using more salt. So with the cutback, the adjustments and everything, I filled the spreader, went out to Caudell's loaded, got a weight, come back into town, spread, got empty, went back out, got another weight, put about 3.5 tons on a load. It takes 2 loads to spread every street and every parking lot. So we're down to about, I think we're roughly around 10 ton to do everything. We cut it back to 7, which will give us an idea of how much salt we need to have on storage. Granted, this year, I wish I would have kept track more of how many loads we took out of there to give us an idea of what a bad winter would give us for usage. But I think realistically, I know about how much we went through. About 150 ton this year. We got down to about 40 ton and then we got our 50 ton order. And we're gonna be sitting on some. It's gonna be a ballpark average, but that, I just want you guys to know we did do a little survey on that to give us an idea of what our salt usage will be. So,
Thank you.
yeah. Okay, anyone else have anything?
Just one thought, we're talking about the roads and how rough the winter is. We haven't had frost go down the roads like we have this winter for a long time. So just thinking ahead, everybody's anxious for it to warm up, but I'm really fearful of what it does to our streets and our roads. So how do we, we're trying to think as a road commission, how do we prepare? What do we need to get in place to be ready to patch? We haven't had this much frost coming out. Depending on how fast it comes out real slow, maybe it'd be all right, but, if we get a fast warm up, it could be pretty ugly, so.
Yeah, good point. There's, right now, I know of 2 hollow spots under the road. It's because the road's heaved. So, yeah, it's gonna be a cold patch fly in the spring, I think.
So then there'll be a cold patch shortage.
Guess we better order now.
So, money moving.
Yeah, just give
So do I have a motion to go into closed session?
I make a motion to go into closed session.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.